For 8 decades, aircraft lovers have debated one topic: which propeller-powered fighter achieved the highest speed in World War II. Today we're resolving it, using verified top speeds in horizontal flight, from official testing information, combat documentation, and confirmed performance evaluations. Here are the 8 quickest propeller fighters that genuinely flew during World War II. These aren't experimental models that never became airborne or conceptual designs that lived only in designers' minds. Every plane on this ranking saw manufacturing, and most encountered hostile fire in genuine battle. Their velocities were reached through advanced engineering, frantic innovation, and the continuous effort to control the airspace in humanity's most catastrophic war. Let's tally down from number 8 to the ultimate quickest propeller fighter that dominated the airspace in 1945. At number 8 stands Germany's Focke-Wulf FW-190D9, hitting a top velocity of 426 miles per hour. Recognized as the Dora or extended nose version, this fighter signified a substantial advancement of the radial motor WWII series that had frightened Allied aviators since 1941. The D9 swapped the previous BMW radial motor with an inline Junkers Jumo 213A demanding and lengthened nose that provided the plane its unique look. This modification converted the FW-190 from a fierce low-elevation combatant into a high-capability fighter, able to confront Allied bombers at elevation and compete against the newest American and British fighters. Manufacturing started in August 1944, and over 700 were constructed before the conflict concluded. Luftwaffe aviators complemented its enhanced high-elevation capability while preserving the superb roll speed and sturdy design that made the FW-190 series famous. During the frantic final months of the conflict, the Dora 9 battled against impossible circumstances in Germany's protection. Number 7 stands Britain's Hawker Tempest 5, reaching 435 miles per hour. Created as an upgraded variant of the previous Hawker Typhoon, the Tempest showcased a slimmer wing shape and more powerful Napier Sabre motor that converted it into among the RAF's most capable low-elevation fighters. The Tempest joined duty in April 1944, appearing precisely in time to confront Germany's V-1 flying explosives. Its outstanding velocity at low elevation made it the most effective V-1 interceptor of the conflict, with Tempest units responsible for over 800 of the unpiloted weapons. British aviators learned they could overtake the V-1s in horizontal flight and either destroy them or employ their wingtips to knock them off trajectory. But the Tempest demonstrated equally lethal in aerial battle. Its blend of velocity, weaponry, and outstanding control made it a dreaded adversary for German fighters. During the final year of the conflict, Tempest units accumulated remarkable elimination proportions while backing the Allied progression across Europe. Numerous aviators regarded it the best piston motor fighter Britain ever manufactured. At number 6 stands the famous Supermarine Spitfire, Mark 14th, hitting 446 miles per hour. This version signified the supreme advancement of the legendary fighter that had rescued Britain during the bleakest moments of 1940. But the Mk-40 was a dramatically different machine from those initial Spitfires. The secret was the Rolls-Royce Griffon 65 motor, generating over 2,000 horsepower, versus the 1,000 horsepower Merlin motors of previous marks. This enormous power boost demanded reinforcing the complete structure and expanding the tail components to manage the extra torque. The outcome was a Spitfire that could ascend like a missile in battle efficiently at elevations, where previous versions struggled. Initially flown in January 1943, the Mk-14 joined unit duty in early 1944. It instantly demonstrated itself against the newest German fighters and was especially capable at intercepting high-elevation surveillance planes and the new German jets. The Griffon's power provided it acceleration that astonished German aviators familiar with outrunning previous Spitfire versions. Over 900 were constructed, operating with excellence until the conflict concluded. Before we reach the top 5 quickest fighters, I'd appreciate knowing where you're viewing from and which of these planes you believe merits the number 1 position. Leave a comment below and inform me if any of these rankings astonish you. And if you're appreciating this thorough exploration into World War II aviation, press that subscribe button so you don't miss the following one. Number 5 stands America's Grumman F-8F Bearcat, reaching 455 miles per hour. Engineered as the supreme lightweight carrier fighter, the Bearcat signified Grumman's effort to generate the most powerful plane that could function from escort carriers, the compact jeep carriers that demonstrated so beneficial in the Pacific conflict. Designers started with the enormous Pratt & Whitney R2800 motor generating 2,100 horsepower and constructed the smallest, lightest structure that could manage that power. The outcome was remarkable. The Bearcat could ascend to 10,000 feet in merely 94 seconds, quicker than any American fighter of the period. Its roll speed was outstanding, and despite its compact dimensions, it contained 4 20mm cannons or 650 caliber machine guns. The Bearcat's schedule was regrettable. It joined duty in February 1945, too delayed to witness battle in World War II. Only 24 had arrived at operational units when Japan capitulated in August, but its capability amazed everyone who piloted it. Test aviators labeled it the best handling fighter of the propeller period. During the post-war years, it became the aircraft of the Blue Angels and established numerous time-to-ascend achievements that remained for generations. At number 4 stands Germany's Focke-Wulf Tu-152, hitting 469 miles per hour. This high-elevation interceptor signified Germany's frantic effort to oppose American and British bombers functioning above 30,000 feet, where most German fighters struggled to operate. The Tu-152 showcased lengthened wings covering nearly 48 feet, a pressurized compartment, and a Junkers Jumo 2-on-3D motor with a 2-stage supercharger. This blend provided it remarkable capability above 40,000 feet, elevation where most Allied fighters were struggling for air. At these elevations, the Tu-152 could out-ascend, outspeed, and outmaneuver nearly any adversary, but the plane appeared far too delayed. Manufacturing started in November 1944, and perhaps 150 were constructed before the conflict concluded. VU arrived at operational squadrons and even fewer witnessed battle. Those that did gained admiration from Allied aviators who confronted them. On April 14, 1945, Senior Sergeant Willy Reschke, piloting a Tu-152H, confronted 4 P-51 Mustangs at high elevation, destroying 2 and damaging a third before withdrawing, a proof to the plane's abilities. The Tu-152H represented Germany's technological desperation during the final months. It was an exceptional design that appeared when Germany lacked the petroleum, aviators, and framework to utilize it efficiently. What could have been a transformation in 1943 became a minor detail in 1945. Number 3 stands the Republic P-47M Thunderbolt, reaching 472 miles per hour. This specialized version of the renowned Jug was constructed for one objective: overtaking and eliminating Germany's quick high-elevation fighters and jets that had started appearing over Europe in late 1944. The P-47M showcased a specially altered Pratt & Whitney RO2857 motor with an enhanced turbocharger arrangement, water injection for crisis power, and various weight-reducing alterations. These modifications converted the already quick Thunderbolt into a high-elevation interceptor that could confront German jets and hit velocities that astonished aviators familiar with piloting previous P-47 versions. Only 130 P-47Ms were constructed. Joining duty in December 1944 with the 56th Fighter Group, the sole squadron to function the model, the 56th had explicitly demanded a quicker Thunderbolt to oppose the growing German jet danger. In application, the P-47M demonstrated temperamental. Its high-capability motor demanded careful servicing, and initial models experienced from severe motor breakdowns that stopped the fleet for weeks. Once these challenges were fixed, the P-47M demonstrated devastating. It merged the Thunderbolt's famous durability and substantial weaponry with velocity that could equal or surpass nearly any German piston motor fighter. The 56th Fighter Group piloted P-47Ms until the conflict concluded, accumulating eliminations against both traditional fighters and initial jets. It signified the complete boundary of what could be reached with the fundamental P-47 design. At number 2 stood Germany's remarkable Dornier Du 335 Pfeil the Arrow, hitting 474 miles per hour. This was unlike any fighter plane that flew during World War II, showcasing a groundbreaking push-pull arrangement with motors positioned at both nose and rear, operating separate propellers. The idea was masterful. By positioning one Daimler-Benz DB603 motor traditionally in the nose and another behind the compartment, operating a pusher propeller at the rear, Dornier removed the resistance of wing-positioned motors while multiplying the obtainable power. The outcome was a fighter with direct velocity that surpassed almost everything in the airspace, merged with substantial weaponry and protection that would have made it powerful in battle. But like so numerous late-conflict German designs, the Do-335 appeared far too delayed and in far too limited quantities. Creation delays indicated the initial experimental model didn't fly until October 1943. Manufacturing planes started arriving at testing squadrons in early 1945, but perhaps only 37 were finished before the conflict concluded. None witnessed authentic battle, though multiple were assessed in high-velocity evaluations that verified their remarkable capability. The Do-335 signified German engineering at its most creative and most frantic. It was quick, substantially armed, and unlike anything else flying. But its difficulty, delayed appearance, and Germany's deteriorating industrial foundation indicated it never had an opportunity to demonstrate itself in combat. Allied testing aviators who piloted seized examples following the conflict, universally complimented its velocity and control, labeling it among the best piston motor fighters ever constructed had it appeared 2 years previous. And at number 1, the quickest propeller fighter of World War II, the North American P-51 Mustang, hitting 487 miles per hour. This supreme advancement of the famous Mustang signified the complete summit of American piston motor fighter design. The P-51H was a thorough redesign, not merely a modified P-51D. Designers removed nearly 1,500 pounds from the structure through lighter design methods, a redesigned body, and elimination of unnecessary components. They mounted the powerful Packard V1659 motor, the American-constructed variant of Rolls-Royce Merlin, with water injection for crisis power. The outcome was a fighter that could nearly reach 500 miles per hour in horizontal flight. But velocity wasn't everything. The weight elimination converted the Mustang's control qualities. The P-51H rolled quicker, ascended faster, and maneuvered more agilely than any previous version. Testing aviators labeled it the best handling Mustang ever constructed. It preserved the P-51's renowned distance, over 850 miles on internal petroleum, indicating it could accompany bombers deep into Japan while outrunning nearly any protector. Manufacturing started in February 1945, and 555 had been supplied by August when Japan capitulated. They appeared too delayed for battle in Europe, and while some arrived at the Pacific, none confronted an aerial battle before the conflict concluded. But the P-51H signified what was achievable at the complete boundary of propeller fighter design. It was quicker, lighter, and more capable than anything else with a piston motor. In a conflict that pushed aviation technology to extraordinary elevations, the P-51H remained at the peak. These 8 fighters signify the complete summit of propeller-operated aviation technology. Also, each was engineered during humanity's most frantic war, when nations invested unlimited resources into obtaining even the smallest benefit in the airspace. The designers who engineered them, and the aviators who piloted them, expanded the limits of what was achievable with piston motors and propellers. What's extraordinary is how similar these top velocities are. Just 61 miles per hour divides the FW190D9 at number 8 from the P-51H at number 1. Every mile per hour originated from innumerable hours of evaluation, gradual enhancements, and frantic innovation under combat pressure. Each plane on this ranking was a masterwork of engineering that could indicate the distinction between survival and death for the individuals who piloted them. Velocity, naturally, wasn't everything in aerial battle. Agility, weaponry, distance, dependability, and aviator ability all mattered tremendously. But in a conflict where moments could establish survival, where overtaking an enemy, bomber before it arrived at its objective could rescue thousands of lives. And where withdrawing from superior quantities indicated surviving to battle another moment, velocity was the supreme benefit. Now you recognize the 8 quickest propeller fighters of World War II, ranked by verified capability information. Dispute the ranking? Believe another plane merits to be here? Inform me in the comments which fighter you consider was genuinely the quickest and why.